Hey folks, welcome aboard. Thanks for coming on board for Good Chats week 128, or is it week 182? I don't know, I forget, I've got so many numbers going around in my head here. But welcome aboard to Wednesday night's live stream where we talk about kind of outdoors related stuff. We talk about a whole bunch of stuff, including sometimes fishing in the Northern Territory. Welcome, Luke's Fishing in the Northern Territory. Thanks for coming on board, mate, from Darwin. Steve Klink, welcome aboard down there in Christie's. I'm Dave over there in Murtoa. He's on board as well. Noel from Coffs Harbour is on board. Jeremy Kemp from downtown Hillston in Western New South Wales, the city of blinding lights. And the Van couple from somewhere in South Australia, I'd imagine. Where are you guys today? Welcome aboard to the regular crew. G'day, Andy. How you going? I am keeping you in the dark tonight. I've chosen a red light just for something different over there on the red light thing. Hey. Welcome aboard, O'Malley Tours. Thank you for coming on board. Where the hell are you this week, mate? And Kingsley Purvis from bringing out the WA crew as well. All we need now is somebody from Queensland and somebody from Tasmania, and we got it sorted. I can make that lighting even weirder if you like. Let's choose a different setting. Hey, there you go. Does that work for everybody? Oh my God, I can't even stand looking at myself with that light up. Oh my God, what has been going on here? Blinding myself. Let's just turn it back to normal light, hey? And go from there. But this is what we do. We kind of experiment with things here on Good Chats as well. How have you all been this week? How's this autumn summer thing treating you at the moment? It's supposed to be midway through autumn, but it certainly doesn't feel like it, does it? This light thing that I've got here, it's got all sorts of different settings, and about 3 of them are any good out of the 99 different settings. I do need a neon light that says all that stuff. It's actually, when you look at people in their live streams, right, and they've got their lovely cafe set up with the brick walls and the palms and all that kind of stuff, it's actually really hard to set up, and it actually costs a fair bit of money. That's when I see those and I think, well, yeah, they're probably making some money by that stage, which means they can afford the upgraded studio lighting and really set the lighting up around the room to make the most of it. But as usual, just me here, and doing my amateur thing, and trying to make the most of the bits and pieces that I've got, because that's kind of how I roll. But I did need at least one extra light, and I did need a light behind me as well. I do understand the basics of that kind of setup. Justin Miller, welcome aboard, yo. And Luggy 111, welcome aboard. Thanks for coming on board, everybody. Here we are. Good chats. What are we doing this week? I put up that post on Facebook about action figures, and I was pretty pleased that nobody took the bait, although, Justin, you did send me an image, and I'm going to share those images later. I mean, I marked myself safe from turning myself into an action figure, but that didn't stop a whole bunch of people from turning me into an action figure. So, strictly speaking, yes, I'm safe. I'm not going to turn myself into an action figure, but everybody else is doing that for me. So I'll share a couple of those images later on. Maybe you don't want to hear my thoughts on AI and creativity and the amount of power consumption that apparently each of those images or the images that are being created by the billions of people around the world are eating up power that's about equivalent to the needs of 17 countries. So I kind of want to just stay out of it a little bit, because every time an AI image gets generated, a tree is killed or a small bird dies. So that's just the way I look at it. I have been working on the Barossa Valley Stations video that I'm going to do, which is a deeper dive into the Barossa Valley Stations. I didn't want to repeat the video that I did 3 years ago now, I think. I don't tend to think that's good form, trying to redo videos. But I've now had 5 trips out to the Barossa Valley so that I could get the right lighting, and as I'm working through my edits, I'm going, oh, hey, hang on, actually I need this and I need that angle and whatever. So I just got back from another afternoon drive up to Tanunda. It's one of the beautiful things about living in the north of Adelaide, is I can get up to the Barossa Valley, have a look around, do a bit of stuff, and come back in about 3 or 4 hours. It's just not that far away from where I'm at here in Adelaide suburbia. And then I was going to go to Book of the Week, and we'll actually talk about South Australian History Festival, which is coming up through May. I've found some railway-related events around the state that y'all might want to note. So, that's what's going on in the magic window here. Here's the first couple of minutes. It takes me a long time of researching, doing my maps, and to be honest, doing the maps actually really helps me as well visualize the route and all the different locations that I may want to include in the video. So when I go out and do shooting, before I've done these graphics, I'm kind of just shooting in the dark. I did do the first couple of trips without expectation, just went out there and sort of had a bit of a scout around and see what's what. And by the time we get to the 4th or 5th trip, which is today, I'm really starting to just get into detail and fill little holes and maybe punch things up a little bit more. I really wanted to get back and capture that late afternoon light that you get out in the Barossa as well. G'day, Dan. Welcome aboard. Thanks for coming on board. He's almost in Queensland, up there in New South Wales, although I'm not sure where you are these days. But northern New South Wales. We're nearly into Queensland. That's right. Outdoors Type has nearly broken into Queensland. We've broken into just about every other state so far, and thank you all for coming on board for these half-hour chats, which have tended to theme themselves around railways and kind of what I'm doing. Always interested to hear from you, though, and always interested to take your suggestions on videos we should look at and discuss. Tweed Shire, what a beautiful part of the world, Dan. And yes, thankfully there's been no seals lately on the north-south motorway. That poor animal, seriously, wow. But there are a colony of seals around Largs Bay Jetty, right off the top of my head, and around the ends of the outer harbour breakwaters. You'll pretty much always see seals if you're maritime inclined to be out on a boat there, but generally not on the expressway, no. That's the route that I take up to the Barossa Valley. We've got some excellent roads that head out that way now. And people who think South Australian roads are pretty average hadn't been here for a while. Seems to be the thing that we're spending a ton of money on lately. So, any rate, I found, we'll put it on a slideshow. This was the first one that was sent to me very early in the craze, and this was the one that my wife made. You can tell by the physique. So, the interesting points, and yes, obviously you just put in wears a flat cap, striped shirt, brown pants, brown hiking boots, uses a camera and a drone, and comes up with some art in the background there. Train boy, welcome aboard. No trains today, unfortunately, although I do... Oh, no, actually, no, there is a couple of trains in my preview video that's coming up. Yeah, so this is, I guess, my wife's ideal outdoors type. And so you'll laugh when you see the next one that JM, Justin Miller, sent me. What am I clicking on here? Slideshow, that's right. Now this is a little more, looks a little bit more like me, I reckon, in reality. I don't know how you did it, JM, but I reckon you probably grabbed a screen grab, chucked the photo in, does the chasing trains bit, and then again drone and cameras. And so isn't it really interesting how two different people who don't know each other have come up with two different... interpretations of what it's like to be outdoors type, and I can assure you it's very much not like living in Ken and Barbie land. Yeah, ChatGPT is getting pretty damn good, man. Yes, I have used AI from time to time. In fact, I used AI to help me update my logo, and I might just add that in there and ask you guys what you think of the logo. Oh, bugger. I'll do that in a minute because I've got to actually go and get a hard drive that it's on, so we'll cancel that. And what we're going to do is go to the video that's been running in the magic window there. So what's going to happen now is this is the first 2 minutes, or the first draft of 2 minutes of my next video, which should be out in another week or two. Is it working? Hang on, it's not working. Why is it not working? It was working before. Okay. It's pretty normal, isn't it? I need to put that in there. Well, that doesn't bloody work. Oh, that worked. Alright, okay. Well, why is that different for this one? There we go, it's working now. A few years ago now that I did my first video following the old railway lines around the Barossa Valley. Now, in 2025, let's take a deeper dive into the history and some of the historic images of the old railway stations throughout the Barossa Valley. Stick around and enjoy. The line from Gawler to Angaston was completed in 1911. It was extended from Norutpa to Truro in 1917 and to Penrice Quarry in 1950. Things began to unravel in 1968 when passenger services were withdrawn. The last train from Angaston was in 2004, and the Barossa Valley hasn't seen a train since the end of the stone train from Penrice in 2014. The stations featured in this video are Gawler. One of the things I really want to do in this video is get better lower third titles. I'm starting to get a bit too tricky with all the information I want to fit in them. Disappeared over the years, but they were simple stopping places on request with nothing more than a step-down platform, and no traces remain. The Gawler to Angaston line was completed in 1911, and essentially it started here at Gawler railway station. Oh, g'day fish plate. Welcome aboard, sir. Or at least part of it even sees electric trains. A lower third title is that title in the bottom left corner. It's essentially talking about the fact that the title is in the lower third of the screen. The original station at North Gawler was originally located. I haven't fully fleshed everything out here. I'm still just moving through the motion and the story. North Gawler when the line opened and eventually became Gawler Central. Now about the map, thanks Andy, appreciate that. I'm working really hard on those. Gawler Central is now the terminus of the Metropolitan lines, and the line beyond here is now abandoned. There we go, that's enough of that, now it's just music. So let me find something else to chuck into the magic window. I use After Effects for the mapping. It's an easy way to convert my map lines into lines that I do on Google Earth, and I can convert them into what's called shapes in the industry talk, and then I can make that shape play out over time. And then I can also use those titles to also play out over time. So yeah, I use Google Earth first up, and then I import that stuff into After Effects, and that is essentially the tool for animation. If you're down with the Adobe stuff. Now let me find roster stations, go to my footage, and I'll pick some cool drone footage. Oh, you'll like this one. I did this flight particularly just to kind of get myself in with the whole footy thing. There was the King Street Bridge was at Gawler Central Station, and it was replaced with a pedestrian bridge that was raised a bit higher, so that the electric lines could go underneath it. For those of you who don't know or have been living under a rock, this is I can't remember what the name of it is, Barossa Footy Place. There you go. Oh wow, Justin, that would be awesome to have been on the old GAN train. I'll transition that over so we can have a bigger screen view, but at the moment it's got no music. I find drone footage without music a bit boring, but I'm a little bit ADHD in that respect. Barossa Park, thanks Andy. Hopefully they get to use it again for something big, because they spent a lot of money on this. So I went past on Monday. This was on Monday, and the highway was still closed. We still had to detour our way around to get around Lyndoch rather than being able to go through. But that's kind of what footy does to South Australia. It kind of paralyses the place. A Bluebird rail car to the Barossa would have been damn awesome. The last train to the Barossa was in 2004. So yeah, I missed it by that much. Anyway, the Barossa is, like everywhere else in South Australia at the moment, super dry. It is actually getting to the point where it's not really good to see. You just look around and you can just feel the kind of pain of farmers and whatnot, and particularly if we don't start getting some decent rains to start the season off. And I don't know what you would say about that, being from a farming family there, Andy. Well, I assume so. At any rate, what's your feeling about this season? Down your way, because I mean it's starting to feel a bit like there won't be a season, because it's just we're living in post weather world here in South Australia at the moment. This is a cool afternoon one. This is Shadow Tanunda, and I'll bring that up on big screen in a minute once we get up to the exciting part. I know that pretty much most of South Australia is looking at the rain forecast now and going, can it please hurry up and get windy and rainy and stormy, because we need it. 1970, the Alice to Port Pirie during a 12-day loop, Sydney via Burke, Alice, Adelaide. Wow. Alice to Port Pirie. I'm just trying to think about this from Sydney via Burke, the Alice. Oh, wow, the full Outback ride. That would have been some hardcore Outback tracks. The park, yeah, apparently only had one entry exit, and that wasn't particularly great because that was onto the Barossa Highway, which is why they had to close it. Seems football games just always seem to cram things up here in Adelaide. And yeah, we're all hoping that we get some rain to kick the season off, because at the moment the season's just not going to kick off. You need to send us some of your rain from New South Wales, Noel and Dan. Seriously, we're getting sick of watching you guys get all the rain. And right now we have the situation where up in the far north of South Australia, in Aminka up there near Queensland, is currently flooded. Even though it hasn't really rained much up that way, or not flooding rain at least anyway, they're currently evacuating because of floods, and that's all going to go down into Lake Eyre, which is going to be beautiful, but it's still going to be dry down here in the south of South Australia. Well, at least if we make the sound of rain or continue to type rain-like words, we can maybe feel like we're getting a bit of rain. Thanks, Noel. Yeah, that on the street itself. Yeah, that's the Barossa Valley Highway, like the main freaking route through to the Barossa Valley. So, well, anyway, it's a festival of footy. And I managed to avoid all the busy footy days and basically all the days either side, especially around the railway places that I head to. Everything is basically deserted. So, yeah, got some good footage there. I'll let that run out and I'll choose another one in a minute. Shit. Going back to your comment there too, O'Malley, do I think it'll become a white elephant? Man, I assume it will become a white elephant. We're not really sure. Nothing much has happened to Mount Barker after the 2 years it hosted the footy up there. It's just a really nice field that costs a lot of money, and that's great. And that seems to be where the government's at the moment, is basically all about sport. Anyway, let's not go too crazy about that. The old multi-storey museum mill near Chain of Ponds, that'd be Birdwood, I reckon. The motor museum you might be talking about there. It's a pretty cool museum, but I haven't actually been there yet. Yeah, and look, it would have been, and I don't doubt it would have been an electric atmosphere up there, Andy. So he's hoping that at least use it maybe for 2 years in a row or something like that. I've always sort of considered Lyndoch to be kind of right on the bottom end, on the fringe, so to speak, of the Barossa. So yeah, it was footy in the Barossa, had a pitch. Now, I think we're duplicating. No, that's just doing its thing still. Pre-motor museum. Jeez, now you're getting full on. Okay, book of the week is the History Festival Guide. Right. History Festival runs from the 1st to the 31st of May in SA every year, and it's full of actually interesting events. Last year, who remembers the live stream that I did last year from Brinkworth on the day when Bob Sampson, the boss of the National Railway Museum, just happened to turn up while I was live streaming from that old railway precinct in the mid-north there. You can forget that when the NRM guy just turns up in your live stream at random. That was a history festival event where we were talking about the history of Magpie Junction as Brinkworth was once known. Now, let me find another video before I go too far into that. Let's go to Plush's Corner. Interesting story, that one, Plush's Corner. Are you going to do it or what? And now it's just doing something else. There we go. This is up near Penrice. This is where the railway that went to Penrice, the spur line there, branched off from the line to Truro. The line to Truro was closed and ripped up in the 80s. The Penrice line is naturally still there. There is some cool engineering around, and I don't know if you're thinking Bald Hills. Hey, no worries, Justin. Thanks for coming on board, mate, and thanks for sending me that message on the action figure. Thanks for not breaking the post on Facebook. Have a great night, mate. The History Festival, I've got a few plans, right? And let me just find them. Number one is, and I go to this event every year, but I'm not sure that I've done a good job of it. Jesus Christ. Anyway, it's here and you can't see it, right? It's called Behind Closed Doors, and that's at the National Railway Museum on the 17th and 18th of May, and that's always a really busy event down there when they open up some of the railway carriages to walk through. Even to the point where they make you take your shoes off or wear shoe covers to preserve the interiors of some of these carriages. And it's a beautiful walk, but it's often quite busy. I'd love to find a way where I could somehow get kind of exclusive access and spend a bit more time soaking up the character and the engineering and all the design that has gone into these old carriages and some of the new ones as well. Yes, I think you did. JK, you might have to send them to me again if I've forgotten to post them. I'm not sure. Welcome aboard, the Average Irish Train Spotter. Are you from Ireland? Welcome aboard. Welcome to the Irish crew. We love having Irish people on board here at Good Chats. In fact, I've been saying every week for the last 6 months now, we really need more Irish people here on the stream. And hey, look, what's happening now? My dream has come true. The next thing I might be doing for History Festival, you can get these books down at Foodland, by the way. They're on the counter. They're free. So just grab one and have a look through. Yeah, I've got to find one other highly detailed system here. Here we go. Yeah, anyway, you can't see it. I've just circled it. It's called Tracks of Change. It's from trains to treadleys, and stick around, you'll maybe one day work out what's going on here. I've been doing it for nearly 2 years and I still haven't worked out what's going on here. We just go ahead and do it anyway. Plush's Corner is really interesting, right? This is an aside, I do this all the time. I come across one of the most interesting names of a pioneer that I've ever come across. It has its name because the area was originally settled by a gentleman by the name of Saddington Plush. And I have to say, Saddington is probably the strangest name I've ever come across. Let's go to the Roland Flat Flight. This is a bit earlier in the day, and if you have the same sensitivities that I do, I'm a bit like, it's a bit bright, but it is what it is. I can't keep going back to places forever and a day. But tracks have changed from trains to treadleys. It's every weekend in May, 11 till 3 p.m. It's up at the Coach House at Mount Torrens, so I'm guessing it's a display. It's admission by donation. And the exhibition highlights the rich history of the Mount Torrens Railway with its decision to close in 1963, and it'll sort of look at the transformation into what it is today, which is the Amy Gillett Bikeway. So the Mount Pleasant line, which I did a video on, one of my very early videos, and so this subject is interesting to me. I probably will go up to Mount Torrens on one of the weekends in May and check this display out. So it's got artifacts, photographs and stories that celebrate the railway's legacy and its transformation into the bikeway. There's not a lot of artifacts or stories out there about the Balhana to Mount Pleasant line. It's covered really well in Roger Salas's book Railways of the Adelaide Hills, but that's about it when it comes to references on this line. What's the next one in History Festival? There's about 5 events. This one I'm probably not going to get to, being in the Flinders Ranges and Outback and all. God damn it. It's called Steel Tracks in Shifting Sand, images from the Old Ghan Heritage Trail, and that, unfortunately, is at the Royal Victoria Hotel. It all sounds great, but the Royal Victoria Hotel is in Beltana, and if you take a quick look on the map where the Beltana is, it's about 5 hours maybe 6 hours north of Adelaide here in the middle of the outback. And I will be getting up there, but not until June. I have really started to solidify plans around getting up to spending 3 days to get up to Farina and Maree, go explore the old government gums and the old railway precinct around there. Such an interesting history, including a break of gauge at Maree in the middle of the desert for quite some time. So it will be interesting to explore, and it's Australia's only Australia's only operating outback underground bakery. So these guys go out there for, I think, about 2.5 months of the year, from June through till mid-July, and essentially they run a bakery out there, and it's like any other bakery, and it just pops up in the middle of nowhere for a couple of the milder months every year, and it's become really, really popular. Yeah, you want to go check out Round and Flat. There's not much there except for a few whistle signs and stuff. There were originally platforms and good sidings and all that kind of thing in Roll and Flat, but really no trace. I did have a bit of a dig around, but there's not much of a trace there. And the last thing that I went through this entire book just for you, dear watcher, to point out all the railway-related things in South Australia's History Month. And the last one that is remotely railway related, that one right there is just too bright. I mean, it's not bright enough for this, but it's too bright for paper. I'm going to have to work on that. Yeah, it's in the corner there. It's called Damming the Dam, the Chewilla Controversy and its Legacy, 1960 to 61. And I did a video on that. That was the railway line that was built to never be used. And that one is up in Renmark, in the Riverland. So I may not make it there either, but I definitely do want to go to Mount Torrens and check out that history. And yeah, I'm going to keep my outback powder dry until mid-June is the plan at this stage, to drive up there, spend a night probably in Maree, probably at the Maree pub if I can fit myself in there, or find some kind of accommodation nearby. So that's going to be pretty cool. Tom Cruise Museum. I'm not sure whether it is, but thanks, O'Malley. I'll add that to the list. But you know me, I tend to stay focused on what I'm doing there. So for the rest of this week and across Easter, I'll be working on this Barossa Valley Lines video. Let me choose a different source video now, and I'll go for a different flight. Here's a flight over Lindock. You would say that, wouldn't you? You know what my main problem is, Van Couple, is actually I use a CPAP machine to sleep. That's the only way I can sleep, and that's the only way everyone around me is going to get any sleep. And so I need 240 volt power, or I need a heavy duty battery with an inverter that's capable of running a CPAP machine. So I've looked into it a few times, and you basically need a full lead acid battery with an inverter. It's probably about a $600 setup, maybe even $700 by the time I get it all set up properly. And you know, I just think to myself, that's a lot of nights in a real bed somewhere. I might be called outdoors type, and that kind of comes from the last 25 years, 30 years of doing a lot of camping. I'm getting very close to the end of my camping days. Lithium would be better, Noel, but the lithium batteries, they don't punch out the power, and they need that inverter to step up the power to run the particular CPAP machine that I've got. There are other CPAP machines that would run on a lithium battery, but the one I've got in particular won't run on a lithium battery. So glad I didn't go rush out there and buy a $399 or cheaper lithium battery, which just wouldn't power the unit through the night. Batteries are always on sale at King's. Everything's always on sale at King's, and that's in fact the setup that I looked at. It was probably the cheapest setup I could find, and I kind of just defaulted back to, you know what, I'm just going to spend more time in hotels and motels, right? Let's go to the second Lindock flight. So yeah, there you go. That's the kind of stuff that we talk about here. Take some extra Red Bulls and just stay up for 3 days continuously. Wouldn't you love to see me do a a video conclusion narration to camera after not having slept for 3 days. That would be interesting. So here we are, half an hour in, folks. Turn the mic on with the magic window. Let's do that one. I don't know what happened to my railway. I got rid of the railway somehow. Oh, that's right. That's because that one doesn't have it. Now, I was going to show you the logo. That's right. So you can see the current logo up there in the left. I'm going to go find the updated one. I have worked on this a lot since I ran it through the AI. I definitely wasn't happy with what AI was spitting out at me. This is the logo of me as a visual designer that I'm talking about here, so I don't want to just use an AI logo. And then I was able to convert that into vectors, more industry speak, sorry, and basically tweak it any way I wanted it. And this is what we've come up with so far. This AI does make heaps of little mistakes. And I'm kind of adamant that I wanted to just use it to get a bit of an idea and then go from there. Now, come on, bring up all my logos. I have a ton of logos here that I've worked up over the years, but I'm very careful about changing the logo. If I change the logo, then it needs to stick for a long time. I don't want to be changing it left, right, and center. That would be the new version of the logo. Always with the Cooper's Kingsley. So, yeah, I wanted to take the peaks, the mountain logo. I wanted to stick with the original design and the shapes of that as well. I didn't want that to change, but I knew I needed more than just a plain black and white. I mean, my philosophy's always been, if I can't do any better than keep it as simple as possible. If I don't have the time or the inclination, or I just don't have the ideas yet, then I want to keep it as simple as possible. And it took me, nearly 3 years to decide that I was ready to update it, add some things that I had been thinking about, and then run that through AI just to get some ideas to sort of break out of not being able to think about how to break out of just what I think of the logo, and so AI helped me to do that. And then I've been able to tweak everything to my satisfaction from there. So I think that's where I might go from here. I do want to do a run of stickers. That's part of the reason why I decided to redo it as well, is I wanted to do a run of car stickers or just general stickers. They've got to be waterproof stickers to be car stickers, and I'll do that this time. But I didn't want to invest in that without something that was a little bit more inspiring and a bit more catchy and a bit more modern. So thanks for that feedback, guys. I'm going to sit on it for a few more days and just make sure that I still like it next week. And then I'll probably pull the trigger on that, and then I will get some stickers made, and hopefully they're good. And then I'll just work out what I'm going to do with them after that. I also think too, if you look at famous logos, and this sort of comes from my training, you can always see the logo, whether it's color or not. Colors can be, think of Apple, for example, or Microsoft, or their logos or whatever, and color is very important with those. But again, I just don't feel like I'm ready to make those judgment calls. So black and white is good to go. And I think also with this, I can put it on a lot more things. So I can reverse it to white and put it on a black background. I can leave it as it is and obviously put it on a white background. It might even work on those sort of holographic stickers as well, and plain black and white will work best for that. But I'll give a few things a go, and we'll come up with something. Irish Train Spotter next week at 8:15 here in South Australia, or 11:15 Greenwich Mean Time. Lock it in, folks, if you are in Ireland right now. 11:15 next week. Maybe it's Tuesday. I'm not really sure. I lose track as well with the days. But thank you for coming on board. Now is the point where, I want to thank everybody for coming on board tonight. I've kind of run through the list there, and, I want to kind of keep things tight as I can, and rather than it just be me just going, what are we going to do next? As always, I am putting the invite out there if you want to join me on screen, and we can talk about your stuff and promote your stuff. So, for example, Dan, you want to come on board and you want to talk about some of the stuff you're doing. Likewise, Luke, if you want to come on and be a little talking head and talk about some of the stuff that you're doing, we can help promote your channel and what you do, or we can just do a Q&A type thing. That would be great. If you have any videos out there on your channel that you would like me to present to the live stream crew, and we can discuss basically anything and everything that comes up out of that. I would love to share the opportunity and share the audience that is here, this awesome audience that has built up over the last couple of years. So I say thank you very much to Steve Klink for coming on board. First again, as you are many times. Really appreciate your support. I'm Dave in Mertoa. Thank you for coming on board. Noel in Coffs Harbour. I always look forward to getting back up to Coffs Harbour, man. I just love it up there. And thanks for compliment on the intro. JK, thank you for coming on board again, sir, and keeping me honest. The Van Couple, hopefully I'll see you out there again. Maybe we want to organise to go catch up at Mount Torrens and go check out this display that's there for History Month. At the Coach House at Mount Torrens. Luke's fishing in the Northern Territory. Thank you again. Look forward to seeing you next week. Howard Springs Hunting Reserve. Wow, you lucky bugger. Who else have we had on board tonight? Andy Munro, thank you for coming on board. Shame we didn't get to catch up, but you're probably very footy focused over the weekend. O'Malley Tours Around the Grounds, thank you for coming on board again, sir. Go check out O'Malley Tours YouTube channel. He's getting better and better all the time at his videos. I know he doesn't necessarily want to be famous on YouTube, but that's probably what's so awesome about the videos that he puts out. Kingsley Purvis, thank you for coming on board as always, sir. It was great to catch up with you on the train ride the other week, and always appreciate your input. There's a lot of stuff that you know that we don't know. Justin Miller we've had on board. He's gone to bed for the night. Luggy 111, thank you for coming on board. Always a pleasure to have you here. Fishblade Films, thank you for coming on board. Another excellent YouTube channel that's been going at it for years. Who else have we had on board tonight? We had a couple drop in late. Oh, we had Irish drop in as well. Thank you very much for coming on board. The Average Irish Train Spotter. Now, look, if I missed you guys through the, just scrolling through here, I'm really sorry. Thanks to the replayers as well, if you've made it this far. Thanks to the replayers and the skip-throughers as well, if you've made it to the end. Van Couple, I'll reach out on... or reach out to me on Facebook, or reach out to me on one of the videos, chuck a comment in there, and I'll reply to that as we get closer to the dates. But I'm pretty cool with any Saturday in May at this stage. I'm pretty cool with any of the Saturdays in May except for the 31st. So let's have a think about that. History Hunter Dan Under. Sorry, I was scrolling so hard that I missed one of my favourite people to have on the stream. Dan, I've been riding alongside your channel from even before I started to do live streams. I know you used to do the live stream thing, and it was a really inspiring thing to watch. So thank you for all of that, and thank you for being here as well. So that's it for Good Chats for another Wednesday night. I look forward to doing it again and talking to you all next Wednesday night at 8:15 p.m. or 11:15 Greenwich Mean Time in Ireland. Until then, peace.